If you grew up in the Christian household, you probably heard the phrase, spare the rod, spoil the child. And today we're going to unpack that and deconstruct it together. Welcome to Lessons Unlearned. And we're going to deconstruct this with a versus challenge, with taught versus truth. What was taught was spare the rod, spoil the child was a verse in the Bible, but it's not. The truth is, this exact phrase comes from an actual poem in the 17th century by a poet named Samuel Butler, with the poem being named Hudibras. And this poem was actually directed towards lovers, not children. And it was literally a satire. It was a parody from this particular passage. What was taught was the rod was for hitting or physical punishment like spankings and whoopings. But the truth is, the rod was actually for guidance. The Hebrew word for rod is shabet, and it refers to a shepherd's staff. It was also used to nudge the sheep when they would go off their path, or also to keep them away from predators and keep predators away from them. So what was taught was discipline had to be done physically. But the truth is, discipline meant teaching, meant to train, meant to instruct, meant to educate. And this is how the phrase was actually weaponized in different eras. The Puritan and colonial era, they viewed their kids and seen their kids as being born into original sin. They believed that it was their religious duty to spank their kids to save their souls, basically save their souls from hell. The era of slavery, which they used whippings to maintain hierarchy, and they painted violence as a divine discipline. Honestly, it was nothing but a scam and a scheme to continue to hurt and harm us. And as Black people, we know that pain. It's still bothering us through generations and our culture, and honestly, it's time to let this shit go. The Victoria era, this is in the 19th century, and this was to move discipline into the schools through paddling. And if you've been to a Christian school or a Catholic school, you know what I'm talking about, because I went through the same thing. But it was actually set up to make more orderly students and make them ready to be workers and be ready for the workforce. In the 20th century, the conservative parent believed that if you did not spank your kid, then they would end up spoiled or soft. They also believed that if you had an emotional connection with your kid, then you were being permissive, which they looked at it as permissive parenting, and it would lead to social decay. Current day progress, and it's a lot to unpack here, so I'm gonna read the screen with y'all as well. Now, we understand how spankings affect the child's brain and how kids should have legal rights as human beings, because they are little humans, okay? But 50-year analysts found no evidence that spankings secures long-term compliance. It's actually linked to increased aggression, mental health problems, and damaged parent-to-child relationship. That's a problem. We see it all the time. Global ban movement. 67 countries fully ban corporal punishment. Wait till you see this. The UN Convention on Rights of the Child obligates child protection from physical harm. Now, out of 67 countries, the U.S. did not prohibit corporal punishment in the homes. I'm gonna say that again. They did not prohibit it as a harm in the home. Honestly, it shows that we do not care about our kids here in America. That's the truth. So here's the bottom line. It's not biblical. And it was never meant for physical punishment or harm, but it was actually to help guide your kids. And that's just it. So it's time to let it go. I think we need to let it go. If you're looking for a safe place to deconstruct, grow, and unlearn everything, you can actually join us in our Patreon, where we actually will do this in a safe space together.